Good afternoon, or good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so very much for tuning in. We have a lot to talk about. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you within the next 3 to 4 minutes exactly what's going on. So it's kind of the opposite of what I usually do. Number one, Andrew McCabe is under criminal investigation. Andrew McCabe risks jail time. He lied 3 times under oath. He is going to get indicted. William Barr, if there's anyone to indict initially, it's Andrew McCabe because the Inspector General recommended that. The Inspector General recommended that Andrew McCabe get indicted. He's under criminal investigation. He now just told the media that Rod Rosenstein and James Comey have been lying. The 25th Amendment, Rod Rosenstein stated, well, I didn't really want to utilize the 25th Amendment. And that wasn't the case. I didn't say anything about it. Andrew McCabe said, not only did Rod Rosenstein talk about the 25th Amendment, so Rod Rosenstein is not telling the truth, but because Rosenstein's denying that he had anything to do with the 25th Amendment or trying to put a wire and tape Trump. But he's also saying that James Comey allowed him to leak to the Wall Street Journal, leak information about a Clinton Foundation probe. Comey said, no, that's not true. So they're both under oath regarding that. But the big issue is that they spoke about the Mueller probe right after James Comey was fired. So after James Comey was fired, Rosenstein considered asking Jim Comey for advice after firing. And then he said, yeah, they spoke. Rod and I had several interactions over the course of 5 or 6 days. In each one, I raised the issue and pressed a little harder. Rod wasn't convinced. Okay, so this is all very interesting. His testimony now, when you look at his testimony, by the way, to my super chat, thank you so very much. Rosenstein and McCabe and Comey all conspired. They all worked together. And the interesting thing is, there are only kernels of truth regarding all of this. McCabe will have you believe that Comey and Rosenstein and he all had differing viewpoints regarding a potential special counsel, Russia, whether Trump should be investigated. He'll have you believe that whereas they all believed that they all agreed that it was important to investigate Russian interference, they all had different perspectives regarding what you could say to the media and what you could do to remove Trump from office. McCabe is saying that it was Rod Rosenstein who initiated the idea of a 25th Amendment, and it was Rod Rosenstein who spoke to James Comey after James Comey was fired. And then he goes, I can't say everyone who Rod was seeking advice from. I can't say everyone who Rod was seeking advice from because I don't know that. But he did mention that he would. He mentioned to me how highly he thought of James Comey and he mentioned that he would like to speak to James Comey about it. So now under oath, Rod Rosenstein's going to ask, have you spoken to James Comey? Same thing with Comey, because Comey is going to be subpoenaed as well. So that's correct. Rosenstein had been the one who wrote the memo that got Comey fired, and now he wants to reach out and ask him for advice. He did. He did. He raised the issue with me twice, and ultimately I told him that I wasn't comfortable connecting him with Jim Comey, that I didn't think Jim would should weigh in on these issues. This is hilarious. McCabe is removing himself. He's the one under criminal investigation, ladies and gentlemen. He's the one under criminal investigation. And he's removing himself from the drama. He's saying, well, I didn't want the DOJ deputy director, the number 2 guy behind Sessions, to speak to a fired FBI director immediately after. And what would they have spoken about? Of course, a special counsel. Of course, they would have spoken about a special counsel. Of course. That's exactly what they would have spoken about. That's what they would have spoken about. And so you have a criminal dishing out dirt on other criminals. And it's all going down, ladies and gentlemen. It is all going down. It's all happening. It's all happening. There are numerous conflicting test reports here, but all one overarching theme. There is an insurance policy that they spoke about in Andrew McCabe's office. Now, Andrew McCabe might not have been under oath regarding that insurance policy text. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if somebody asked him about that specific text message. But they did ask Lisa Page. All of this is under oath. Ex-Clinton, okay, McCabe Rosenstein deliberately initiated Trump probe after Comey firing. So it wasn't enough that they initiated a bogus investigation based on Clinton purchased evidence. What they had to do is also, in addition to that, what they had to do in addition to that is start a special counsel. So you have, ladies and gentlemen, Rosenstein considered asking Jim Comey for advice after firing. Then you have to ask Comey, did you speak to Rod Rosenstein? Were you in contact in any way with Rod Rosenstein? This is so hilarious. What they're trying to do also is they're trying to say, look, well, we thought that he was a national security risk. Why? Because Clinton purchased a dossier that said he was. That's essentially why. They have no evidence at all that he was a national security risk. They have no evidence at all that he worked with Russia to hack the DNC. They have no evidence at all that isn't tied to Hillary Clinton or GCHQ or Christopher Steele, a former MI6. They have no evidence at all. They have suspicion, and they have politically motivated dirt on Trump. Everything was politically motivated. They wanted to go after a political opponent, and that's what they did with Trump. What happened was they went after a political opponent, and it was President Trump. They had not a shred of evidence, whereas Hillary Clinton did violate numerous statutes, including U.S. Code 793F of the Espionage Act, which means that even if she didn't intentionally transfer the information, she should have been indicted. All of this was an overt cover-up, and this was a fraud. The same statutes that say committing a fraud against the United States of America. This was an elaborate stunt by people who had no reason to investigate Trump. 20% of U.S. uranium capacity for building the most dangerous weapons the world has ever known was given to Uranium One. Was a deal that was signed off by the Committee on Foreign Investment. These people are Obama loyalists, and Obama could have vetoed the deal if indeed he was so tough on Putin. And if indeed Hillary Clinton was so tough on Putin that he had to hack the DNC because he was so frightened she'd become president, why didn't she oppose the deal? She was on the Committee on Foreign Investment. Why did she oppose the Magnitsky Act? Why did Bill Clinton meet with Vladimir Putin? Why did he get $500,000 for a speech in Moscow? Trump didn't get $500,000 for a speech in Moscow. Trump didn't meet with Vladimir Putin privately as a private citizen. So it's like they want the speech transcripts from Trump and Putin, but they don't want the speech transcripts from when Bill Clinton met with Vladimir Putin at his home. Hi, Vlad, how are you? I'm so happy to be here to eat this caviar and drink this wonderful vodka at your home outside of Moscow while the uranium deal's going down. I'm so happy. Thank you for inviting me. Thanks for the invite and the $500,000. Don't worry, we'll make it happen. You have William D. Campbell, the FBI informant, who stated that the Russians were bragging about their influence over the Clinton Foundation and the Obama administration and both Bill and Hillary Clinton. Look, the same people who didn't like Trump really don't have any reason not to like him other than this perpetual machine, this media machine that makes him look like this big monster. Meanwhile, the economy is doing great. He's bringing home Americans from conflict, and they want to keep him there. That's why I loved past tense Bernie Sanders. Loved past tense. You have a president who has signed prison reform legislation that Van Jones called a Christmas miracle. Prison reform legislation that Van Jones called a Christmas miracle. ICAS 80! ICAS 80. Why did Obama tell a cybersecurity head to stand down after he warned him of Russian interference during the election? Exactly. That's right. Jay Johnson was it Department of Homeland Security? Oh no. Yeah, that's right. That's right. And Obama did nothing. This happened under Obama's watch. It all happened all under President Obama's watch. They did nothing. And they didn't inform Trump that they didn't inform Trump that his campaign was being investigated. Nothing. It's like they didn't inform Trump, but they investigated anyway based on a dossier and CrowdStrike, CrowdStrike assessment, all linked to Clinton. How does that work? How on earth does that work, ladies and gentlemen? How on earth does that work? ICAS 80, thank you. So now you have Andrew McCabe selling a book. He's under criminal investigation, ladies and gentlemen. There's a grand jury. There's already been a grand jury, and they already have information and evidence that proves he lied under oath numerous times. And then Trump, wow, so many lies by now disgraced acting FBI Director Andrew McCabe. He was fired for lying, and now his story gets even more deranged. He and Rod Rosenstein, who was hired by Jeff Sessions, another beauty, still capping on Sessions. Looks like they were planning a very illegal act and got caught. And this is the Washington Examiner. Very interesting article. This is a gentleman who worked for the FBI for 25 years. Andrew McCabe identifies himself as a victim. Here's why I don't believe him. McCabe, who only spent a few years conducting investigative work in the field, had been hustled through the obligatory senior assignments in order to be brought back as deputy director after the investigation into Hillary Clinton's unauthorized email server case had been opened. What he fails to mention is that he waited far too long to recuse himself from oversight of that case upon his return. He acknowledges that, quote, I was part of that team and those decisions. The question is this: what ethical, experienced, mature, and sensitive to appearance of impropriety FBI senior executive in his right mind would have not steered clear of any perceived influence on a politically charged case when his spouse had decided to accept campaign funding from a governor with control of a political action committee and deep political ties to the Clintons? Answer McCabe. There was not one question from McCabe's television interview about his relationship with the disgraced former. They're all disgraced. With the disgraced former, you have Congressman Anthony Weiner disgraced, McCabe disgraced, Strzok disgraced, Page disgraced. All of them are disgraced. And everybody knows what they did, even people who like them. This is the problem. Everyone knows what they did. Everyone knows all the illegal activity. Why is my screen? All right. McCabe still awaits notification of any criminal referral to the Justice Department on IG's findings, with no denials that he perjured himself by lying under oath. This is why he had to be fired. FBI agent trainees are warned that lying in an official capacity results in termination this witness impeachment information is required to be turned over to the defense attorneys in case the agents would ordinarily testify in. So how should we take anything McCabe says now as truthful? We shouldn't. Madge Mack disgraces the new agent. Exactly. Madge Mack, thank you. His assertion that Rosenstein offered to wear a wire and record the president has been flatly denied by the Deputy Attorney General and resulted in a department spokesperson describing Rosenstein as having never authorized any recording that Mr. McCabe references. Well, of course, never having authorized and never having discussed the issue are two different things. Never having authorized or discussed the issue are two different things. So there you go. There you go. Oh, Lord. Never having authorized or discussed the issue are two different things. Oh, Lord. So there you go. I'm trying to fix this. Okay. So you have a situation, ladies and gentlemen, where I got to get Bruce Lee in here. Okay. Let's see. All right. Finally, we have something. Okay. So all of this is an obvious plan to simply ensure that Trump is removed from office. That's what they did. That's all they did. That's exactly what they did. I mean, it's just so obvious. Everything has been so obvious. Everything has been so obvious. Every single thing has been so obvious. It's so overt. It's so overt that it's like in a more salacious section, McCabe alleges that former Attorney General Jeff Sessions made repugnant remarks. And so he goes after oh my god. I don't believe Andrew McCabe, especially since the most prominent targets in his books are Trump, Sessions, and Rosenstein, three men who had direct impact on the termination of his FBI career. Yeah, but see, the thing is, he also worked with Rosenstein and Comey. So it's like this den of vipers that turned on each other. Of course he can't be trusted. The real question is, what can we derive? What can we derive from his overt attempts at deception? What can we derive? So, ladies and gentlemen, let's see here. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much. I'm going to upload a segment shortly. Watch for that to my super chat. Thank you. I'm not sure if anybody got notifications for this, but I think we'll call this live chat. We'll end this a little bit sooner than usual. And definitely check out the Grease Gun segment on my Second Amendment channel. Thank you. Eric H526. Thank you. I will have another live stream. I will definitely have another live stream later this evening. You know what? Let's continue. We'll continue a little bit more. We'll go a tiny bit over a half hour. It's 23 minutes. We'll go a half hour. So we won't go just yet. We won't go just yet. Let's look, because it's so unbelievable. Calling James Comey, Andrew McCabe said Rod Rosenstein wanted Comey's advice. Why would you ask for the advice? Trump insisted Rod Rosenstein, this is hilarious. Trump insisted Rod Rosenstein mention Russia in memo. This is hilarious. There was no Russia collusion. They had nothing. They had nothing. Oh, okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, ICAS 80, thank you. You know what? I guess I guess I will call it this short. So my super chat, thank you so much. I just people didn't get the notification, and there is an upload. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you, and definitely check the upload. I will be back live streaming later this evening. Thank you so much. And check the upload shortly after this segment. Definitely check this channel throughout this evening. Thank you. Let me just find the. Oh, yeah, here it is. Thanks, everyone.